I cried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Exactly. And so C will be, instead of talking about Promised Neverland, talking about his favorite Linkin Park albums tonight.
I cried so hard, and Thousand Suns is really good.
Yeah, that was good. You maybe go listen to it when I saw you tweet. So yes, go check out C's Twitter where he will tweet about all the Linkin Park, all the other things that he tweets about, because that's what Twitter is for. So
I'm gonna
yes,
cry.
we got an episode that I actually liked somewhat mostly this time.
Uh, yeah. My first reactions to this was it was a 180, and I still think it's a 180. But when I uploaded my video on it, I got a lot of people that were like saying things like, "Yeah, the episode was like solid, and but they still skipped a lot. They skipped, I think, like 20 chapters is what a lot of people said, or around that." Um, and I I forgot. I gotta link this to Saucy. Anyways, and um, I was surprised to hear that people still felt disappointed, even though there are also anime onlys because of what the last episode did.
Yeah,
My opinion is that on that is that that's totally justified. But I do think looking at this episode on its own, it's pretty good.
yeah, I'd say on its own it was decent. I feel if it had been like part of a good season, I would have liked it more because it like would have been a bit on the good things. As it was, it seemed to like try to be make it was like it was trying to make up ground from last time. Had some good parts, but some other parts that didn't hit as well as they could have if like the whole thing had been better.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of it is. I think you really hit the nail uh, quite quite perfectly when you say that it would have been better. This episode would have been better if it built upon some things. And yeah, I think this episode would be a really good tension builder
Yeah,
if this came way down the line like
yes,
it should have.
especially if like they had a lot of setup and this is like how they're or how they're going to show the kids now striking back against the demons. And hello to Starshine. And
Hello.
yeah, I think I was kind of hesitant, like what I would expect going into it. I watched this after I saw like your tweets about it, and I think, oh, is this gonna be really good? And so I was like, well, it was better.
Yeah, I still think episode 5 was here's the thing though. Here's the thing that I'm willing to admit. Um we will really tell how good this episode was with the next episode, which I hate.
Yeah,
I've said that for 2 weeks now. But and I'm definitely not trying to say that this episode is uh like we have to wait and see because of this episode if the series is bad or not. But I do think that um it's one of those things where the context of this episode could be totally ruined by the next because this episode made like the last episode feel like it didn't exist, which
yeah.
is the strangest thing. It had Norman returning and big, bombshell facts like, hey, the demons have to eat humans, which is explored more in this episode, thank God. But
Right, but
uh,
they actually like went into it a bit more. It's like the it's definitely feels like the last couple episodes were just like ignoring everything so they could get to the ending. Now we're getting to the ending so they can like start the ending arc final thing.
yeah, it really feels like they were just like, yeah, let's just get to the ending.
Yeah,
And really, it makes me think, why would they do it? Like, this isn't in terms of just like the pacing, this isn't, this is a different situation from Tokyo Ghoul. But why would they do this kind of Tokyo Ghoul thing where they skip so much stuff? Why not just start it at this part? Why not just say, "Hey, we're just going to have them leave
oh yeah.
and they'll wander around and find the city and then change a bunch of stuff around
So like
with
start
Sonju and Mujika and just change the setting a little bit of those events
so like
and make it
start the
more
season
cohesive."
there.
Right. I think if they started the season at so if this was like an episode 2,
Yeah. And I
it,
feel like
and
that would be even like differing even more from the manga, but at the same time, they don't care about being loyal to the manga. So
yeah, they don't really care, but like if this was an episode 2 or a 3 and you had one or two episodes before this just to set up that, hey, we're like immediately skipping to the ending with this anime because we want to get out of the way, then go ahead, because you have a lot of just what you can work with in this series in terms of story, and what's already been there, like the mother Isabella stuff, which she's still not in the show for some reason.
Yeah, so what is
Um,
she doing? Well, that was definitely weird. And I feel like
yeah,
they didn't have to
yeah.
bring her back either. So like either they have a big role for her or they brought her back for no reason.
To me, I think she's just gonna show up and like do something, and she's either gonna die, like sacrifice herself to save Ray and Emma and all of her kids, or she's going to live happily ever after with all of her kids again, and it's going to be like it was in season one, but instead of Isabella selling away all of her kids, or well, getting rid of all of her kids, she's living in the human side of the world or something
Oh,
like
that would
that,
be
or
interesting.
happy. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. Probably it's either that or it's going to be all depressing.
Yeah,
But
I could definitely see her sacrificing herself, but then like a happy ending for the rest of the kids.
by the way, EA showed up, said if you're 555, then I'm 666.
Yes, because I have 666 subscribers again.
Yes.
I should upload
And
more.
Travel Philippines Beautiful PH dropped this anime after episode 5. Overall, it's a meh anime. Yeah, season 2 is very meh.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
that's a
not.
good way to put it.
I'm not as excited. Like this episode was definitely better than 5. It's like going in a
Mhm.
possibly interesting direction, but I'm not excited about it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not very excited about this series. Besides the last scene with the Mujika stuff, that's about where it got me there.
Yeah, that.
But I'm not overly excited like I was
Yeah, I'm
when
kind of
this
sad.
season was starting.
Like this past week, all the anime or all the currently airing anime I've been watching had kind of disappointing episodes or like less exciting episodes.
Yeah, at least I think season 1 just was so much more exciting, so much better,
Yeah,
so much more well thought out, and this really just um like to me this is the best episode of the season, and there really haven't been basically because of episode 5. To me, every other episode now feels kind of meh.
yeah, and I feel like
And
episodes 1 through 3 were good at the time as like an introduction to wherever they're going, but then like there's no payoff to make that introduction worthwhile.
yeah, like the first 4 episodes feel like it really feels like I don't remember any of it, and it never happened.
They feel like a different
And
show or a different season.
yeah, it feels like a whole different kind of like like time. Like it feels like a year ago that stuff happened. Which,
Which
in the anime it did.
yeah, that kind of
Even though that's
fits.
still a plot hole, by the way.
Yeah, like how they escaped the giant wild demon thing. Then we actually learned a bit more about what that thing probably was. So we learned here that the demons basically they need to eat humans, otherwise they become non-human wild demons. So that was probably just a demon that had never eaten a human. Right, Lucy? My internet die. Someone please tell me. Please hold. Hello? Okay, my internet seems to be working, so I guess sees Mr. Kitty just ate his microphone. So I will instead talk to you, chat. How are you doing tonight, chat? And yeah, one thing that we did learn is that the demons, if they don't eat humans, they eventually go wild. So that would imply that the demon at the beginning or at the end of episode 4 that was chasing them was a demon that had gone wild, which is kind of explains it. But something else I noticed here is that during this episode, they kept talking about Mujika, how that was Emma's friend, how it was someone she cared about. Not really much Soju so much. Granted, they didn't seem to be as close. But that makes me wonder, what if that wild demon was in fact Soju? Assuming that's her name. I think that was his name. This is why I need C so I know what I'm talking about. And C went offline on Discord, so maybe his internet went out. It's gonna be awkward. I'm not gonna do any podcasts alone like this. Yeah, so what if that giant demon was Soju? It had like gone too long without eating people. It completely lost control. He seemed to be really strong, so him having a giant wild form might actually make sense. Or. At the end of this episode, we learned that Norman referred to Mujika as like a witch, or I forget the exact term. Again, I need to see. So, what if Soju becoming that, was because of Mujika's magic. Like, she unleashed him. We don't know why. See, he's messaging me. Apparently, his internet is going haywire. This will be good. Chat, please help me out here. So, yeah, my theory is that Mujika did this on Soju, turned him into that giant monster, and maybe she sent him after the humans who are going after the kids, trying to help them, and causing even more issues. I mean, maybe that's how it resolved. She used her magic to like restrain him so they could get away. That would be interesting. That would tie a lot of different things together. That might also be why we never got the cliffhanger at the end of episode 4 resolved, because by not showing us, they could like build suspense what actually happened. It definitely feels weird, but that is a thing that happens. So, going back to the start of the episode, one of the things that I called from the beginning, and I think everyone called, is the final shot of the opening with Emma and Ray like looking back from the light. I actually have a lot of thoughts about the opening too. We will get to that in a minute. But they're looking back to the light. There seemed to be like a blank space on the right hand of the screen. We now have Norman there now, which definitely obvious, but still it was really cool to like show him coming back in that way. And yeah, I think I might just like do another video on the opening itself. That could be really interesting. So yeah, we get Norman back, which was great. And one of the things I loved here was how Emma was so overjoyed at seeing Norman, and we could really feel it. Back in episode 5, I was kind of disappointed at the reveal, because while I was glad to see Norman, it just didn't feel like, it did not feel like the moment was worthy of him. But we got the joy at Emma seeing Norman here, and how like she doesn't believe it either. She thinks he's a ghost or a lookalike or something else. She has his doubts, which, I mean, it makes sense. She's been through a lot of tough times. She doesn't want to become too hopeful at something like this. But just seeing like her doubts go away, that was great. Emma is so precious, and we really saw it here. And I love how like Ray just like punched Norman right away, and then like then hugged them, said how grateful he was. Ray was really great this episode, both in this scene and the scene with Emma, and how like Ray expressed like how he was glad to be alive, how he was happy that Norman's plan ended up working so well. But then we learned more about Norman, which was, well, weird. He was taken to Lambda, a testing facility of some kind, where they do experiments to basically try to get more food out of humans. I'm not really sure how that works. Apparently, they did not do experiments on Norman himself. They just made him do tests. So again, why is that? C is resetting his router, and he is crying. What was I saying? Oh yes, they were doing tests on Norman. Was they like the test at the farm where they just like test his intellect? They said they did not experiment, or he said they did not experiment on him. So the question is why? Was he still too young? Did they want him to become an adult before they did? Or was there another reason? Do they have another plan for him? Do they want him to become one of the people who runs the facility? Because I mean, they need people and or demons, and he's smart, so he'd be a good scientist, probably. Not entirely sure, but that is the guess that we will go with for now. Oh yes, and thank you for the subscription, Travel Philippines, it's beautiful, PH. One of the big questions, though, is hello to the anime dude. One of the big questions, though, is what were the experiments there, and how did Norman escape? We learned that Smee, a supporter of Minerva, ended up being there to help him. Though beyond that, we really don't know much about how he got out, only that he did. And you watch half the episode so far? Well, good, because I'm going sort of chronologically through the episode, so you're good for the next 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long this takes, and how long until C comes back. Though C comes back, we're probably going to go all over the place. Yeah. So, anyway, Smee, that's the name, helped Norman get out of Lambda. And apparently Smee was also the person who gave Crone the pen. So Smee's been doing lots of things. Question is, what all is he today? I was disconnected to this card call from C. Let's call him again, see if this works. So yeah, the question is like, what else is Smee up to? Is Smee going to play a role in the end? I feel like he has to. But again, what type of role? And so we definitely see more about how William Minerva's agents were like everywhere within the Demon Society. Yeah, way different from the manga. I can definitely believe that. I have not read past the anime in the manga yet. I want to do so soon, and that way I can like see that. Though the difference doesn't bother me so much, though it's definitely weird at times. And still no C in Discord. Uh, yeah, so we basically found out that Smee helped Norman get out. He destroyed Lambda. At least that's what Norman said. But that
I'm
is.
back.
Yes, C is back.
My internet went out.
Okay, good, because I went through about a quarter of my notes rambling to myself.
Uh, so where are you at?
Let's see. We have Smee helped Norman to escape by destroying Lambda.
Oh, oh yeah, Smee.
Yes.
The weirdest name.
Yeah. That
But
apparently Smee. I don't know if he knows Smee's gender, but they were helping William Minerva in like part of his group.
well, Smee is a Smee.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that was really interesting. Because the way Norman was talking about how they experimented upon him, I
Yeah.
found.
Well, and he was like the one they did not experiment on. So my question is why? Like, why were they just having him take tests? So my thought
Yeah.
is,
So
sorry, go ahead.
well, no, you continue.
So my thought is, are they going to like make him be someone who runs Lambda? Like they need smart people to run experiments, so he's smart, so why not?
Well, to be honest, what I think is going on with that is simply when Norman said he didn't have any, like, they only ran tests on him.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that is the truth.
Yeah, and oh, the anime dude is saying in chat that he doesn't trust Norman or thinks Norman is suspicious,
Yeah.
and that maybe he was like they made a deal with Norman like they did with Isabella, saying go get Emma and we'll keep you alive. Though I really don't feel like Norman would betray Emma like that. If so, then he has a plan to like double cross the demons.
Yeah, I mean the whole, my whole thing with all of this is that what doesn't make sense to me is Norman suddenly is wanting to exterminate all the demons, much in the same way that his friends are.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense to me that those same people have this burning hatred to kill all the demons. And he comes out of this, says he only undergone tests, but wants to commit essentially genocide through biological warfare of a whole species.
Right, but it could be that even if he wasn't like personally hurt by them, like he's had all of his siblings killed up until this point. He's probably seen friends that he met at Lambda killed. So I can definitely see why he'd have a hatred even if he wasn't like physically hurt himself.
Well, don't you think it's what don't you think it's weird then that nobody else in the group feels the same way that Norman does?
Like, which group? His group or the kids?
The kids, because the kids just kind of go, "Oh yeah, cool. Norman has a plan." They don't, explicitly express, "Oh yeah, let's kill every single thing in the world,
Yeah,
or every single demon." And Emma and Ray have this weird feeling about it.
yeah.
So,
Well, the kids like seem okay with it. They seem to be like more happy that they can live in peace. They may not want to kill all demons, but they see it as like a means to the end. And Ray seems to be fine with it, saying, "Well, that's what we have to do. Why not? It's not like they deserve to live."
hmm
But yeah, I thought
well,
it's also very interesting. Like Ray shows up, he has all this plan. There's definitely more going on with Norman that we don't know, and I don't know if I fully trust him.
no, I don't for one bit. I think they telegraphed it. I think what they want to do with this ending is, I think they want to do kind of like a swap between what was initially out in the first season, where Isabella was the bad guy, Norman was the good guy,
Oh,
and they're gonna do a swap where at the end Isabella is the good guy, Norman is the bad guy. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but
yeah. I
it definitely feels kind of telegraphed because of the way the tone they've been showing Norman and his merry gang of psychopaths.
yeah, and he's definitely like more composed, more like non-psychopath. But he's their leader, so what does that say about him?
Well, to me, like Norman is like, I guess to use the term psychopath more, he's a functioning psychopath. On the
That
outside,
could be.
he doesn't seem like it, but on the inside, he wants to commit genocide.
Or is this like his way of saying, well, if his goal is like to protect humanity, does he have any better options?
I think so, and here's my theory on this.
Okay.
And it's such a shame that the series went the way it did because it's such a fascinating topic. But in this episode, they talked about Mujika and Sonju
Right.
kind of being these humanoid demons. So, what if they were experimented upon or ate enough humans to where Mujika, in particular, because we know Sonju is kind of still prefers human meat,
Yeah, he
but
preferred to
we
eat
don't know about
humans, but he has his religious reasons.
right. So, what if Mujika is one of the only persons or demons to mutate after eating humans? Because they said in this episode that the more humans they eat, the more characteristics they take.
Okay.
So, what if she's mutated to a point where she doesn't have to eat humans, or even more, she can't eat humans?
Ooh, it's like she can't, like she ate too many humans that mutated her, and now she's like, she will not revert back, but she also can't or doesn't need to eat humans anymore.
Yeah, so what if she's mutated to the point of where she basically can only eat the things that humans eat?
Yeah. So I guess the question would be, could they force that in the other demons without needing to eat humans to do so?
Yeah.
And so,
It's a and it's a very good point. It's a very good point.
well, I also wondered, like Norma might not know that. We know that he knows something about Mujikawa, which raises a whole ton of other questions. But if he does not know about Mujikawa and Sonju, would he think that his, or would he think he has any alternatives to his plan?
I see. I don't know about that.
Because like
So
take the knowledge of Mujikawa aside, Norman's goal is like to protect all the kids, and so the way you do that is to get away from the demons, or basically eliminate the demon threat. So his
right.
plan to make them all like go back to wild demons and take away their intelligence, that would accomplish the goal. Yes, it'll kill the demons, but do they really deserve to live? And even
I
if
mean,
I think it was Ray who brought up the point too, like, okay, the kids and all the humans escape to the human world. Well, the demons are just going to go degrade back to their non-human selves anyway.
right.
So would attacking them this way be any worse than that?
Uh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Could
it's
be.
that's what makes it so interesting. Like all these questions, I like how like Emma is the type of person who she does care about the demons, and, like sees that there is a humanity side, or like they do have their humanity, and doesn't want to kill them. But she also knows she doesn't have any better options. So that's why I
Yeah.
find this episode really fascinating in that aspect.
No. Yeah. That was, I think, a very. It's obvious of Emma's character for her to
Yeah,
want to do that as well, and that's what I like. From what we know about Emma, she's very much kind of the straight man. She's kind of, the morally good character.
yeah.
She's the most thoughtful of them all. She doesn't do anything, that's risky per se.
She
She's the perfect main character for
yeah
this
she
series, I
cares about
suppose.
everyone. Perfect shonen protagonist.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
She's a perfect shonen protag.
I think what I like
And
about that though is that they're taking a step further by saying like, yes, she's very naive. She wants to help everyone, but she's also self-aware enough to know that that doesn't make sense logically.
yeah.
And like she, if it
Yeah.
weren't for Ray, she would just like gone along with the plan anyway because she could not think of a way out of it.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. It really seems like she's not a stupid character,
No,
you know?
and
That's what I like.
there's also enough about Norman that seems suspicious. Like he showed up with all these plans. He knows exactly, like he has this way to take down the demons. He has this shelter they can go to afterwards. It seems like too perfect. And there's also maybe a contradiction in what he said too, that maybe it was even intentional. Like he said when he got out, like with the help of Smee, he destroyed Lambda, but then later on he said that Lambda was after him.
Yeah.
So that could be like a bad translation. It could be sloppy writing. It could be Norma making a mistake, or it could be Norma saying something, hoping the other kids would pick up on it.
I have no idea. Absolutely none.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I I I this is what confuses me about this adaptation is that because the story has kind of been so sloppily told in the last couple episodes, I don't really have an actual a clue for some of these more finer details
Yeah,
because
because it
it's
could just
like
be like
they've not.
it could be bad writing, and then we're overthinking
Yeah,
it. But in a show
right,
like this, you want to have these things that seem to not make sense because you can dig into them and you know someone with a purpose.
right, right. There's a whole thing to it, and if you don't uh if you don't present things well, first off, it's just not going to make any sense later on. So I think that's kind of the issue that we're running into with the Promised Neverland season 2 at this point is why? Just kind of like
Yeah,
why, you know?
yeah,
And we still didn't have an explanation. They even addressed this episode like the shelter was found out by the farm.
yeah,
It's
and we don't
but
know
they
how.
never said why or how.
Maybe if this was a well written show, I'd say like they did that intentionally. They're going to get to that soon, and this is all going to come together in a really cool way. But I
Yeah.
also don't have faith
They
that the show is good enough to do that.
they could have ad-libbed that line. Like they there is so many even like I would rather much prefer this series in this current incarnation to just skip out on some of this non-important dialogue and just take a minute to address the plot holes they've left.
Yeah, or even something
Like
like fully
why?
addressed, like or at least set up links, or they should have told it in a way that the plot holes didn't matter. Like why they even have to find the shelter to begin with.
Yeah, it's like why were they even going there if they were there for 3 minutes? Doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense.
or like
And
skip
then
from
you then
episode
you
2 to episode 5, and then it could maybe be okay that way.
and then you have in episode 5 where like at the very end they kill the demons without hitting their eye, and Sonju specifically said the eye's their weak spot.
Well, they also made the comment that the humans like were more advanced, like because of the experiments, so that's how they could fight the demons.
I mean, I suppose, but
Which, or
I
it
I
could be that just because the eye is weakness doesn't mean you can't be killed other ways.
no idea, no idea. But the thing is that you're talking about like you're explaining it to me. The show shouldn't have to. The show should do that, not you.
Well, I mean, didn't the show say that though? They said
Not
they
necessarily.
said that the people were like more powerful now, or like
Well,
because of the
yes, but they
experiments.
didn't. But the characters didn't specifically ask, "Hey, Sonju told us this thing, and you killed those demons." It was just expressed generally speaking.
Yeah,
So we don't know in what context does that mean. Does that mean that you can cut off the limbs of demons or whatever like now, like,
I mean,
or does that mean like 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 what does that mean exactly? That you're strong enough to does the weak points not even matter anymore? They never really explain any of that.
yeah, it could use some explanation, but I would still assume like any creature with like enough force, even not on their weak spot, would kill them.
I mean, yes.
So
I,
like yes, you might have a weakness like in your eye, but if I hit you with the nuclear weapon, you're probably gonna die if I don't hit your eye.
no, yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
So like gives me like stabbed across the neck. Well, that might not be the weakness, but with enough force and a sharp enough knife, well, that still makes sense.
The anime dude says, "I wonder what Isabella's doing." Yeah, she was literally given a goal, like this big rollout for her character,
And then disappear for the last
and
3 episodes.
she's gone. Like it's not even a single mention of where she's at.
Yeah, and
Like what the hell's going on with that?
maybe we'll find out eventually. I don't know. One thing, I going back to the interesting part of the episode though, with like Emma and Ray, just like how Ray wanted to get Emma's doubts and questions out because he knew that otherwise she's going to mess things up for him later. And I just like the relationship between Emma and Ray, like how Ray knows her so well, how he like wants to help and is kind of like cynical with it, maybe. I don't know if that's the
Yeah,
right word.
I just like how they understand each other.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool. That there's no a lot of their interactions are very smooth because there is kind of they're all on the same page,
yeah,
and there's no general conflict of you know what do you want to do. It's all for the same, like they're all just trying to survive.
yeah. They all have the same
So
goal. They like want to keep everyone safe. There's some questions about how to get there, but they all want all want what is best for everyone, and they like really respect each other too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what makes Ray and Emma such a like anytime really they're on screen, it's usually pretty smooth because of those reasons.
Yeah, we need we need more Emmas in our lives.
Emma's pretty great.
Yes.
Pretty great
Apparently
indeed.
forgot to take notes on this last half of the episode though, so that's fun.
Well, basically, they just kind of sit around and they're like,
Yeah.
haha, I'm a psycho.
We
And Norman is like, haha, I'm a psycho too, but less subtle. But he does drop Mujika being the heretical girl.
yeah, that was like she was like the magic demon or something. I forget the term. We also
Yeah,
have
and this is what really got me like really invested and kind of excited for the next episode, to be honest.
yeah, so like figure out what's actually going on with Mujika. So it definitely shows that Mujika and Norman are not on the same side. So which of them is actually a good guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have
Yeah.
Barbara with a giant piece of meat, which is apparently demon flesh.
Yeah. Yeah, she's eating a demon.
Yeah,
Sislo is like, I can't wait to kill everything. And Vincent's just, he's just like big brain.
yeah, he's like a bit more chill, but still, he wants to kill everything.
Yeah. It's a very interesting group of people. And I guess you could say they're justified in kind of like hating them,
Yeah, I mean,
but they're not justified for, I guess, being psychopaths. But
if you hate them that much and you're tortured so much through experiments, it's gonna be hard not to be a psychopath.
yeah, no, that is the thing about that. It's kind of hard not to be crazy after going through such heinous experiments. I mean,
Yeah,
the way they described it, it seemed it was just so inhumane that that they pretty much did lose their minds.
yeah, and like, why would they have any sympathy for the demons?
Right, right.
Yeah,
So,
do you know what show this reminds me of?
um, Kill La Kill.
No, Symphogear.
Stuff like is pretty good.
But no, the actual answer was Attack on Titan because like all the hatred with all the characters.
Yeah, except Attack on Titan is really well written.
It is. The Attack on Titan
What?
podcast when?
Now.
Okay, let me go rewatch all of it and take lots of notes and go listen to the opening 18 more times. We should do an Attack on
Well,
Titan video.
I will say this. I do like that Norman, like they do kind of got that Attack on Titan thing going on. Like you're kind of right because
Yeah.
they have Norman being this kind of Shades of Grey character,
Yeah.
but
Well, with
I don't
Attack on
know.
Titan, that's everyone.
Yeah, with Attack on Titan, everybody to a certain extent is both evil and morally good.
Yeah.
So
I agree with the anime dude. They should show like Norman's side, like show his backstory, what he went through, how he got to this point. I don't think they will, at least not much detail because they only have like 5 episodes left.
yeah, no, for the rest of the series, we're not.
They don't have time to do much
They,
backstory. They
they're
need to
not
like
gonna
wrap up
do
everything
anything.
somehow in 5 episodes.
Yeah, my guess is if we're not getting Isabella by next episode, get ready for a train wreck.
Yeah, probably. We might get a train wreck anyway if we do get her back.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a train wreck anyway. It's just the way this is going. It's just gonna, God, it's gonna be horrible. You know what this reminds me of? This,
Kill a Kill?
this reminds me of the very first adaptation of Blade of the Immortal, and to the same extent, the newest adaptation of Blade of the Immortal,
Didn't you like
where
really
they're
like the
like,
manga?
yeah, the manga is really amazing. It's it's one of those things where it's kind of just a work of art, but so you'll probably not like it. But
Are you implying things about my taste?
I'm just applying that you the things I like are obviously not the things that you like, which is totally fine. But like with those Blade of the Immortal adaptations, they basically adapted a 250 page or a 250 chapter manga into a 12 episode and a 24 episode series. But even then, some of some of the chapters in that manga, multiple, like a lot of them are like over 120 pages.
Oh wow, so that's like a massive thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So like just to adapt some of those chapters, it would be like an hour-long episode.
Yeah, they need like
So
100 episode series to adapt it.
you'd probably have to have a, like probably about as long as what Hunter x Hunter is right currently, like 144 chapter or
That's,
144 episode, probably more.
I thought it was 148.
Near,
I should go watch more of that.
it may be, but probably close to 200 episodes it would take to adapt Blade of the Immortal if you want to do it like correctly. So, um, yeah, it's long.
So we need a 100 episode Promised Neverland adaptation.
I mean, so me and Sasi were talking about this. As you know, the chapters are relatively short. They're
Yeah, they're
around
not
20
super long.
pages.
You
Some
can,
of them are around 30 or 40.
yeah, you can
But
easily do like 2 or 3 chapters per episode.
yeah, kind of standard adaptation pace
Yeah.
for most stuff. You probably could have gotten at the most 4 seasons out of this show. So
Yeah, so like why not do it that way and like make a really good show that people like?
right, and not only that, but this show was extremely popular. This is a show that it didn't get to the heights, of what an AOT was or what a FMA was, but it got, casual people were paying attention to
Yeah,
this
it was like
show.
one of the biggest shows of that year.
Yeah,
And like if they
like
continue having like a good season every year, it again, maybe not Attack on Titan, but like Fruits Basket level beyond that, I'm sure. Like Rising the Shield Hero or SAO.
well,
Maybe not SAO, but
to
still.
to me, if season 2 just stayed its pace of what normal adaptation should do, and that's faithfully adapt things. I agree. It could be at a Fruits Basket or above level.
Yeah, because I feel like Fruits Basket is still excuse me. Fruits Basket is still kind of niche, so yeah, I could easily surpass that. Maybe like getting close to ReZero level.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would definitely be at the ReZero kind of level. Google. I actually, funny you say that. I went to before the season was airing, I was checking out all the shows I'd be covering on Google Trends because I was just
Oh yeah.
curious to see how they ranked in popularity and what could I expect in terms of views or whatever. And Promised Neverland is actually already more popular than ReZero in terms of Google
Oh,
search terms.
okay.
So
Maybe it's because it has like the manga, which is more popular than the ReZero web novel.
yeah, well, it makes ReZero look like a non-existent line.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it kind of it was up there with things like Demon Slayer.
Oh wow, okay.
It's like right below stuff like Demon Slayer. So Promised Neverland was very popular. Which, by the way, season 2 is coming out for that soon.
The Demon Slayer.
Yeah,
We should watch it.
I agree.
We should watch the movie.
I agree.
All right, let's go to Japan
I'm moving to Japan right now.
so we can watch the Demon Slayer movie. I was about to say Promised
pro-
Neverland movie. That's not
You
worth moving
see,
to Japan for.
I would have much rather preferred like 3 movies for Promised Neverland than this.
Yeah, but the last 3 movie series I saw ended up being disappointing in the third one.
The anime dude says you guys should do a Girls und Panzer podcast.
Didn't Malice tell us to watch that?
I watched 3 episodes of it.
While
Wasn't my
playing
thing.
While playing the Girls in Unpanzer game.
Yes, we will play the Girls und Panzer game
While doing the Demon Slayer podcast.
while doing the Demon Slayer podcast.
Exactly. Perfect plan.
I like the way you think.
I don't know how my brain works half the time.
I don't know how my Brian works either.
Do I know? Yeah, I know it, Brian. I agree. Okay, I know multiple Brians, so they won't know which one I'm talking about, but still.
Yeah, totally normal.
Yes.
Nothing going on there.
So, do you have any crazy theories this time?
My crazy theory is that I would say this is the most unlikely theory,
Okay.
but it is it's probably not possible, but like in a weird what if dream scenario, like I think it would be cool, and that is enjoying the rest of the season.
Well, you want to know my crazy theory?
What is that?
So you know how Norman made the comment that Mujika is like the sort of demon magic thing. So
Yeah.
and you remember that giant demon in episode 4?
Yes.
What if that giant demon is Soju that had been turned into that form by Mujika, and she was sent after them to like attack the soldiers and save the kids?
Well, didn't they show Sonju during during that?
I don't think they did.
Because wasn't he fighting the other demons?
Not in episode 4.
I don't know. I guess you could be right.
Yeah, that's my crazy theory. I didn't say it made sense.
My other crazy theory is that Emma is actually really a panda sent from the future to kill Norman.
You probably don't know how your brain works either.
My Brian.
Yes, you're
It's my
Brian.
Brian. Yeah, my Brian is working pretty good.
Yeah, my brain isn't working. So, any other random thoughts? Or where can they find you?
Isabella is a MILF. They can find me at ctactics/C or YouTube. My Brian! YouTube.com/C/C where I do Attack on Titan videos. Sadly, Promised Neverland Season 2 videos. And
King of Anime podcast.
King of Anime podcast. Yeah, thanks. We actually have to replace ReZero because of what went down today.
Oh,
But
yeah.
if you don't know about that, go check my channel. Talking about Katakawa.
I have ideas.
But tomorrow, community tab, 9 a.m. in the morning. 9 a.m. in the morning. Oh God, 9 a.m. EST. Will be announcing a replacement anime. So,
is it Promised Neverland?
it is the Neverland which was promised.
Is it Symphogear?
It is the Symphogear of Neverland.
I wonder what EA would think of Symphogear.
He watched one episode and I think he didn't like it.
Okay. That's you should watch Symphogear.
Watched like season 3, episode 4 or something like that. So he was like right in the middle.
Well, if he's gonna watch random episodes, it should be season 3, episode 1, because that's where they stopped the spaceship from crashing into Earth.
Oh yeah. Is that where they cut the
mountain?
K2 in half?
Yeah. And then they destroy a forest. And the anime dude is probably very confused.
Oh my god. The dude, season 4, episode 1 was amazing.
Oh,
as well.
that was.
And they cut a spaceship in half with a giant sword.
Anime dude, go watch Symphogear.
Symphogear is pretty great.
Yes, but yes, thank you for watching. You can find me here. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on OnlyFans if you really want to. But that's another story for another time.
Yes.
So, good night, everyone.
Good night.